Harlene Simmons always dreamed of writing a children's book, and that dream came true when Frankie the Caterpillar was published in 2020. The book follows the title character as he overcomes his fear of change and finds both solace and a new friend named Bonnie on his journey. Simmons joined me to share how her former career as a healthcare worker shaped Frankie's story and why she decided to leave healthcare to follow her creative passions.
I think my whole life I've been like a storyteller. It just, I probably didn't realize it years ago, but then when I look at it now and people seem to be drawn to me, I don't know if it's just my energy, but I feel like I'm always telling a story of some point. But I did some activities with the residents at an it was a combination nursing home assisted living. So I used to write poems with them. I used to try to, I would do Reiki on them, I would do things like that. But they used to be interested in like poetry and books. And so we used to write poems, and they would help me come up with an idea. I'm like, let's find an idea. And we would talk about these, poems. And I'd give them to my boss, and she would submit them, and they would wind up in the newsletters all the time. And of course, when the residents see their name in the newsletters, they're like, oh, this is so cool. It makes them feel worthy. Like they're not just gone and forgotten. So one day I said, I really like to write a children's book, and guys feel like helping me with it. And they're like, oh my God, you write a children's book. So I had to come up with an idea. So doing the Reiki, I always would put butterflies. Like I had them on my labels for products. That was like my insignia, the butterflies. So I knew I wanted to do something with that. But I didn't want it so much of the evolution, the science of a butterfly, but more like a friendship and love, because that's what I felt from the residents, because they used to hug me and kiss me all the time. So I asked for their input. And I said to them, well, look here, this is what I want to do. How can we incorporate the butterfly, into a friendship story? I know they have caterpillars first and they turn into butterflies. Maybe we can work around that. And they were like, oh, yeah, they were all over it. So we started from there. And it started like, let's go on a journey and let them be friends. And it just kind of morphed into this story. And as, we edited it, we kept going back and forth. And I said, oh my God, can you imagine this in a bright, full color book? So I said, okay, it's got to be bright, bright colors. And we put the colors with the storyline, and it turned into, it's all about friendship and love and sharing and helping one another. And now more than ever, this is important, to be kind and have friends and help them. And I must have had that insight then that it was going to relate now. And then I kind of rebooted it again.
And let's speak to that, because your book, Frankie the Caterpillar, it follows the journey of Frankie as he finds answers and even comfort as he prepares to make this transition, as you said, from caterpillar to butterfly. Can you share more about what young readers will discover in this book?
One of it is change. A lot of people are afraid of change, and even kids, they have friends, but now I didn't notice it so much when my son was young, but now I see it in these kids, like with my 10-year-old grandson, and I see how it's a struggle, because if everybody's identity changing because of this whole nothing to do during COVID made them think other things, and they feel like they have to change to get friends, and they don't. They should always be themselves. And if they're afraid of change, find somebody who's like-minded like you and the same, to help you, so you can both grow and, have the growth and change yourself. And change doesn't mean you have to just change your personality or anything. It's just change your thought process, look at people differently.
You mentioned the butterflies and that being representative of your work in Reiki. You have
Mm-hmm.
over 15 years of experience doing that type of work. Can you briefly explain what Reiki is, and were you able to pull from that experience to write this book?
So the Reiki, it's universal energy. And we're all made up of energy, but it deals with your mind, body, and spirit. And that's why everything holistic people do that are especially into this energy is in threes, because they're always connecting the mind, the body, and the spirit. And that is all connected to your internal organs. It's your whole being. And when we're in balance, which is homeostasis, then we function as a whole person. And, heal thyself. There's nothing in your body that's not in your head, as they say. Thoughts, we have thoughts. We all do. And thoughts are just stories we tell ourselves. And we do that either for comfort, we do it to protect ourselves, we do it out of fear. And that's what kind of connected to the book is the fear, to the fear of change. And what if I don't like it? What if I'm not happy?
As I was getting to know you, you shared with me that you've always had like this creative spark and gene within yourself. And
Mm-hmm,
although you took a different career path
mm-hmm.
along the way, you found your way back to some of your passions in different ways. So, what advice would you give to others who are looking to discover and maybe nurture passions that they may have that they've neglected for so long?
A lot of it is generational. I grew up in a different time than you or somebody younger. Parents were different then. Um, and then when I had my son, I said, you choose whatever makes you happy. But when other people try to control what they think you should do for a multitude of reasons, whether it's money, whatever, clout, whatever it is. But if you're not happy with your job, or you will never be happy. And even though I took that medical path and I was great at it, was it my passion? No. But the one passion that was always consistent was I loved helping people. I loved to be creative with people. That was the whole foundation, was my passion for others and always there to help them, no matter what it was. So it's just try to get past the fear, because if you don't try, you will never know. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. You made a mistake, you tried it, it didn't work out, move on to the next thing that you might like. And listen, you can dream big. And if things don't work out, you can always change, but at least don't be afraid to try.